I'm Tiffany Cloud. On September 11th, 2012, our consulate and annex in Benghazi, Libya came under attack. 4 Americans were killed, including our U.S. ambassador. On the ground, several special operators, and among them, Kris Paronto, also known as Tonto, whose account of the day's events can be found in the book 13 Hours and in the blockbuster movie 13 Hours, a movie I recommend. I saw it 3 times. As part of his Leading from the Front tour, Kris has been blanketing our region leading up to the presidential election, with stops in Lehighton, Scranton, and Wilkes-Barre. After the break, I'll be joined by Kris Paronto. I'm joined today via Skype by Kris Paronto, known as Tonto, one of the heroes who fought in Benghazi. Kris, thank you so much for connecting with me here on this storm.
I appreciate you guys. And sorry I'm so limited on time. We just had something added in Scranton, Pennsylvania that I've got to be at, and I apologize.
Well, you're a very busy man, I know, and you're traveling all over northeastern Pennsylvania with stops in Lehighton and Wilkes-Barre and Scranton, so we won't keep you too long. But I do have to ask you to comment on some breaking news that's just occurring per Fox News. Fox News is saying right now that an obscure private firm hired by the State Department to protect U.S. diplomats in Benghazi just months before the American ambassador and 3 others were killed was staffed with hastily recruited locals with terror ties who helped carry out their attack. Their sources saying the guards were hired, they were locals and were part of Ansar al-Sharia and al-Qaeda groups operating in Benghazi. And whoever approved the contracts at the State Department hired locals who were not vetted. So my first question to you, how on earth could Hillary Clinton's State Department rely on locals with extremist ties to protect our diplomats in Benghazi?
Well, it just shows a leadership failure, and that's where the politics need to be pulled out of it. It's a complete leadership failure. Is that statement accurate? Yes, it is. And actually, my buddy John Tig verified that as well. Blue Mountain Group was not fully vetted, neither was 17th February March Brigade, and we testified to that. How on earth is she still able to be running for president? I don't know. They utilized a terrorist organization, in fact, 2 terrorist organizations within the 17th February Martyrs Brigade and Blue Mountain Group to protect the consulate. They didn't do their due diligence. So whether it's nefarious or not, it's a failure. And honestly, it's hard for me to say with all those new emails that come out and that it wasn't a nefarious decision. It wasn't a decision to get people killed. And I hate to say that because I am a patriot. And to say that somebody within the State Department, particularly Hillary Clinton, and then you've got 2 more, Patrick Kennedy and Charlene Lamb are two names you need to do a little bit due diligence on. To say that they left the ambassador to die and give him protection from terrorist groups, as a patriot, you don't want to say that. But with more information coming out, that's what it looks like. And no, she shouldn't be running for president. She shouldn't even be involved. She should be in jail right now. And here's just another fact that should put her in jail.
One of the things that you're doing all over northeastern Pennsylvania, you're speaking as part of this Leading from the Front tour. I'd like you to tell the audience a bit about what the Leading from the Front tour is, and then speak to the fact of what your concerns are about our leaders. Are they leading from the front?
Well, no, they're not. They're leading from behind. It's all, and I think even Obama stated that we're leading from behind. We're letting the Middle Eastern countries dictate the war on terror, and that's a failure. And that's why we're seeing attacks in the United States of America. That's why we're seeing the rise of more terrorist organizations. One of the most powerful terrorist organizations that we've ever seen in ISIS. We are not taking terrorism seriously. And that's what leading from the front is. Believe me, it's taking on all politicians, not just Democratic politicians, not just Republican politicians. It's all politicians that do not take terrorism seriously. And with my outspoken, and I am outspoken against Hillary Clinton, I saw the failures. I saw political correctness in Benghazi, Libya. It's a perfect example. political correctness putting before the safety of American lives. And it costs American lives, and it almost costs more. But because of the team, because of the GRS team, which consisted of 2 Navy SEALs, 3 Marines, and a Ranger, myself, and we took over the operation when the attacks happened, we managed to save 31 lives. And that's where the leading from the front comes to. You've always got to set the example. You've always got to be willing to do things that you would not, that if you're going to do it, you have to be willing that others around you got to be willing to do the same thing. You're never going to ask anybody to do stuff that you're not willing to do yourself. And that's where leading from the front comes from. It's a speaking out against terrorism, but it's finding a way to combat terrorism, but also it can incorporate the Muslim community to help us. We are American people. We are one. And we
so
need to
how
start
do
working that
then
way.
we go, just to expand on that, how do we go about defeating radical Islamic terrorism from your view?
Well, first of all, you've got to start calling it what it is. It's radical Islam. It's radical jihadism. Second of all, you've got to start using personnel. Like Abu Qatala is a very good example. The mastermind of the Benghazi attack is what the administration likes to say. He was not. But we're trying him in a criminal court. He's not. He's a war criminal. You treat him as a war criminal. We got to treat terrorists as war criminals. We also, what we need to do is start utilizing the Muslim community to assist us in vetting, because we're going to have to start vetting refugees regardless. It's going to happen. But utilizing the Muslim community to help us with that. I have fought alongside Muslims that are more patriotic than a lot of the Americans we have in this country. And we can utilize that community. We've got to incorporate them, but we also have to hold the imams in the United States more accountable. They have to speak out against Islamic radicalism, Islamic jihadism. And last but not least, if we need to incorporate more politicians that have actually fought the war on terror. We've got to put them on congressional committees to fight against terrorism. We're not taking it seriously enough. We can do more. And if we don't take it seriously enough, we worry more about votes like Hillary Clinton does, then we're going to continue to have deaths in the United States of America. And that can happen. I don't want to see my family, my kids grow up in a country that assimilates like the Middle East. You don't want that here in the United States of America. We want to make
Before
sure
I ask you the
we're
next
all
question, I want to say this. I personally saw the movie 13 Hour, not once, not twice. I saw it 3 times. I do believe what you did makes all the difference in the world, Kris. And I do want to make sure that I say thank you for your service and your sacrifice. It's very important that there are Americans in this world like you. So thank you. Having said that, if you had it to do all over again, knowing what you know now, knowing that Secretary Clinton, knowing that the president were going to blame a video rather than saying this was an organized terror attack, knowing that she would say, what difference does it make? Knowing that the families of the fallen would not be heard. Would you go back in? Would you have done the same thing?
Yeah, actually, I would go back in, but the team, and I think that the team would say the same thing around me. We would have left earlier. We would have disobeyed orders, and I'm proud to say that. We disobeyed orders coming down from the CIA and from the State Department to not go help. We would have disobeyed those orders earlier, and the ambassador and Sean Smith would still be alive. In a heartbeat, I'd go back, because that's what we do as Americans. We're patriots. We defend the United States of America, even on foreign lands, and we defend them against domestic enemies, which quite possibly, if she's elected, we may see that. And believe me, I will continue to speak out. But answer your question, in a heartbeat, and I testified to that. And you know what? It's funny, because the Democratic councils could not wrap their head around that statement when they asked me, would you go back? What would you do? Go back, leave earlier, and again, fight. Because that's what we do as Americans. We protect Americans, and Americans were in peril overseas, the ambassador and his team. And as SEALs and Marines and Rangers, you think we're going to stand by? No, we're going over there, and we're going to try to save lives. And I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would continue to speak out like I am now. I just would have wished we would have left earlier, because I know the ambassador and Sean Smith would still be alive.
The WikiLeaks documents, Kris, indicated that the Clinton team referred to her testimony over Benghazi as a game, her testimony before the Congress as a game. I don't know, but life and death, to me, that's no game. What is your reaction to that?
That they are soulless human beings. And you can quote me on that. Use that as a soundbite. Anybody that treats human life as a game have no respect for human life. And you know what I tell Hillary or anybody else, that put a gun in their hands. Go overseas, go fight against terrorism. Watch your friends die in front, and I did. I watched Ty and Glenn get blown up 75 meters in front of my face while I was shooting over their heads. Go see that. Go experience those lives that are lost, and then see if it's a game. That statement right there proves to me that she is not capable to be a leader. And, bottom line, she's not capable to be a human. Anybody who takes that lack of respect, that disregard for human life, has no business running for president of the United States. And for those people that are actually out there and still are considering voting for this woman, you need to take a step back, because if she's going to do that for us, she will lay everybody else's life on the line if it benefits her. And I saw it that night in Benghazi.
We are on the precipice. We are on the precipice of a historical election. We are either going to have a President Trump or we are going to have a President Clinton shortly. Will your mission change depending upon who is elected president?
No, I will continue to hold politicians accountable. The last 3 years, I have been involved in D.C., and honestly, it has not been it's not been a fun time. It's not something I've enjoyed. I've seen the cesspool up in D.C. All politicians to be held accountable. You've seen right now the Blue Mountain Group that was contracted, that had terrorist ties, and they were the ones that actually helped with the attack. They were the ones that protecting the consulate. If you want to do your due diligence, go ahead and search Representative Mike Rogers, who was in charge of the House Intel Subcommittee, and his wife's ties to Blue Mountain Group. He was a Republican. He actually threw us under the bus because of money and because of the Blue Mountain Group ties to Mike Rogers' wife, who was bidding on contracts for the State Department. So no, my mission will not change. My mission is to hold, no matter what party you're from, is to hold all politicians accountable and to put America first, and to protect people, and to put patriotism before politics.
Kris, how can we best, and perhaps that's what we need to do, but how can we best as American honor your fallen brothers?
You know what? Just don't forget them. Heroes die when they're forgotten. That's why I'm out there speaking. I don't want Ty or Glenn. They gave all. They are the heroes of that night. They saved lives. And the only way they are forgotten is when we quit talking about them. Don't let Benghazi die, ever. Don't let what happened that night die. That Benghazi shows politicians do put themselves and their careers in front of human lives. And because of Ty's bravery, because of Glenn's bravery, 31 people were saved that night. And that's the way you keep remembering them and you keep their story alive, is you just keep talking about them, and you don't let the story ever die until they're honored correctly and Hillary Clinton is brought to justice. I think that's when I can finally go to sleep. I'll be able to sleep at night thinking she has finally been held accountable for her disrespect to the human lives, but also for causing the deaths that took place over there.
And just one final commentary and question, really. In the movie, which I saw several times, it was chaos when you were running from the annex to the consulate. It was hard for you, it looked like the person who was playing you, to determine the good guys from the bad guys. Isn't it sad, though, I would understand perhaps that being difficult in a war zone, but it seems like it's hard for us to tell the good guys from the bad guys in politics today.
Yeah, you are exactly right. And the gentleman that played me, Pablo Schreiber, excellent actor.
Excellent.
He actually portrayed me dang near 100% accurate. Luckily, he got picked early, and we were able to get to know each other quite well. Did a fantastic job portraying my mannerisms. But to answer your question, that's exactly right. But because of Benghazi, because guys like myself speak out, because more veterans speak out against particular politicians when missions fail and they try to cover it up, I think we're starting to see now which politicians we can trust and which politicians we can't. The sad thing is the majority of the politicians that we have in the office right now, we can't trust, because they're about themselves. They don't put others first, and that's what we need in politicians. And that's why I think Donald Trump is a good pick for president, because he's not a politician. We need people running for office that are no longer politicians. They're patriots.
Okay,
and we have let politicians grow into a multi-million-dollar job, and it can't be that way.
My last question to you is, I am the wife of a combat wounded warrior, Iraq and Afghanistan, and I would like to just hear from you as we close. What have you done to heal the scars of combat since you've come home? Are you an outdoorsman? You golf? What do you do? What do you do to kind of decompress?
I work out a lot. Yes, I live in Nebraska. I do like the outdoors. I like to fish, so I do that.
Okay.
I fish. I wish I've had more time. I'm on the road constantly, so I'll be honest, I haven't healed fully because I haven't had a chance to take time to myself for the last 3 years. But also what I do and what helps me is I talk to fellow veterans, especially those with post-traumatic stress. It's not a disorder. A disorder is a label. It's a label given by the government to put down people, put down veterans. It's not, guys. Guys and girls, whoever has post-traumatic stress, you can fight through it. I've had it for 7 years. I fought in Benghazi with it. I've been talking about this mission for 3 years, having post-traumatic stress. What helps is talking about it, but also realizing that your life is not going to be the same, but you are better because you have been tried, you've been tested, you've been weighed, and you've come out on top. So that's what you do. Find something that keeps you happy, but talk about it, and talk about it with other fellow veterans, and be proud of your service and be proud of what you did. That helps me.
Kris Paronto, it is such an honor to get to interview you. I remember your very first interview with Bret Baier on Fox News. I watched it, I was riveted, and it's a bit surreal for me that I'm talking to you right now. I know you're a man of tremendous character, resilience, bravery, and faith, importantly, and I just wanted to really say thank you for taking the time to talk to me today.
God bless you, and thank you I'm sorry about being so short and doing this on the phone. I'm just pulled in 18 different directions. Hopefully we can do something again where it can go a little bit longer, because I've really enjoyed the conversation.
Well, wonderful. I will see you in Wilkes-Barre at the event later on this evening.
Yep.
Okay. Take care. All right.
bless
Thank you so much. Well, remember, folks, when you look around and you don't like what you see, don't complain about it. You can do something about it. And before you vote, be informed. And thank you for watching.